What's up, everybody? Are you putting off what needs to be done? Have you ever been labeled a procrastinator, or maybe you're procrastinating right now listening to this podcast instead of doing something that you should be doing? Well, continue listening to the rest of the podcast. But when you're done, you'll have some handy hints because today we are talking
Keep
about
taking a break.
how how to stop procrastinating. We're each going to be given three quick tips. This is the Existential Stoic podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. What's going on, Danny?
What's up, Randy?
Yes. So today we're talking about how to stop procrastinating. Have you ever procrastinated in life?
I feel like this is something I continue to struggle with every day, all the time. It's like procrastination is horrible. I think sometimes it's like, you can kind of get away with it, so you do it. Sometimes just because, like, I don't know, there's so many reasons to it. And it's like so hard because it's, that constant fight with yourself about what you need to do right now, and get it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about procrastination is a little rhyme that says procrastination is just like masturbation. In the end, you're only effing yourself.
That's a good one. I didn't know that. I like that.
And if it rhymes, it's got to be true.
Yeah. And it's also true.
Yeah. So today we're
That's a
going to
good
be
one.
sharing three quick tips for how to stop the procrastination. I'll go first with my first quick tip, which is
Nice.
just do 5 minutes. Whatever it is, that thing that you're procrastinating. I remember back when I was in university, I was always doing papers. I would just keep putting them off. Or maybe it's at work, something you don't want to do, or maybe it's at home, something you don't want to do. Just do 5 minutes. Now, why do I say that? Because 5 minutes, most of us in our minds can be like, yeah, I could do 5 minutes of that. But usually that's the hardest obstacle, is just getting over that initial hump. So once you do that 5 minutes, it's a lot easier. And I notice that now when I have to write papers, I put them off, like my gut doesn't feel like doing it, but then I'm like, okay, just 5 minutes. And I start 5 minutes, and then 30 minutes later, I'm done the darn thing.
Yeah. No, I think it's such a good one, dude, too, because like usually too, when we think of what we have to do, we think of the whole thing and it seems overwhelming, insurmountable, or just too difficult now. But 5 minutes is not. And you're right. Once you get started, it's like things start to get done, and then you're like, oh, I can do this. It's not that bad, or I can do 5 minutes, whatever. And like, yeah, I've used that so many times, and it actually does work. Like, just sit down and do it for a little bit, and then you'll realize like it's not impossible anymore. It's actually doable. I like that one a lot. That's a good one. My first one is take responsibility for what you have control over. We've talked about, like the dichotomy of control and stuff like that numerous times. And I think this is important too, because like a lot of times our procrastination stems from kind of blaming or envisioning things outside of us, like having this power over us that they don't, or all these other things. And in reality, like it's our mind, our willpower. We have control over it. We can start if we want to. It's just a matter of being honest about that and actually taking responsibility for our actions and doing it.
Yeah, I like that one. And because oftentimes, or maybe oftentimes, what stops us is some perceived event about what we're doing, like somebody's opinion of something that we're going to do, the grade that we might get on it, which again is based on somebody else's opinion. So, like all these external things that are out of our control will oftentimes mount up reasons why we won't get started. So, actually looking at what's in your control, being like, okay, fine, the grade, totally out of my control. The approval of other people, totally out of my control. But the action, that's in my control. So I'm going to do that now.
Yeah.
I like that. That's a great one, Danny. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, welcome. My next one is do it today, every day. So a lot of procrastinators keep putting off to, oh, I'm going to do it someday, tomorrow, next week, someday. Someday is the big thing. Someday just means never.
Yeah.
Like all these people who want to travel, they're like, yeah, I'm going to travel someday. And it's like, no, you're not. Like, just be honest with
Not
no, you're
gonna
not.
have.
Yeah, it's just not going to
Not gonna
happen.
have.
Like, you either have a plan and you do it, or it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I think the same thing is with procrastination. Because if you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna get it done. But if it's not planned, if you're not going to do it today, because today is really the only day you have. I mean, uh, as bad as it may be, like there's no guarantee you're going to wake up tomorrow. So
Yeah.
today's the only day you got. So you just got to do it today, and you got to do it every day, every today.
No, I like that one too, because I think it's like, it takes away that idea of the future that we have all this time forever and that we can always put things off and definitely would still have time to do it because we don't know what's going to happen. But also like, it's that idea of building those habits too. If you just do these things every day, you won't procrastinate because you're actually like sort of, you're knocking away pieces of it every day instead of leaving yourself the whole thing to do in a night or 2 days or a week or whatever. And it being a horrible experience, you make it piecemeal and you make it easy, and then it's not a big deal anymore. And I think that's good. It's a good way to kind of like get control of it. It's a great one. Um, my next one is be honest about how much it really matters. And I think what I meant with this is, I think we work ourselves up so much when we're trying to do things. We make like, you know, that whole idea of like what I'm doing is the most important thing ever in the world at all times and matters the most and it's whatever. And like in reality, it's not, like whether or not I get an A, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that much, right? It's just about passing and getting that degree that you need or whatever. I think in so many things we do, we imagine that it's so crucial that we do this like perfect job, but in reality, it doesn't matter that much. So
Mm.
understanding how much it really matters is important because it can help you just get started.
And I like what you say there, the concern for doing a perfect job, because a lot of times that's what stops people is they want to do it right. Like especially the first time they do something, they want to do it right. And that's such an insane mentality. Like
Yeah.
literally you should be locked up for that mentality because it's like
Yeah.
this is the first time you're doing it and you want to do it perfect. That's absurd.
Yeah.
Like the first time you do it terrible. The 10th time, you're barely getting it through. The 100th time,
Yeah.
okay, now you have some experience. You can do it. The thousandth, 10,000th, 100,000th, millionth time, that's when you can start to do it perfect. But I think in that same notion, understanding that doing a half-assed job is still awesome because you're doing it. You're getting the work in there and you're getting
Hey,
feedback.
doing it right. It's kind of like the same thing too, as like when you start out doing something and like you've been doing it for like a little while and like you get frustrated because you're not like already an expert, right? It's like that same mentality, and it's like, well,
Mhm.
obviously, it's gonna take a while. Like
We're all
things just take
insane.
time. Yeah, we are. We're all exactly the same. It's really funny.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So my last one is if you're procrastinating, figure out why. Because there's gotta be a reason. I mean, we're simple creatures based on pleasure and pain or
Yeah.
comfort, discomfort, whatever you want to call it. But there's got to be some reason that's more attractive than actually doing the thing that you're supposed to do. So figure out what
Yeah.
that is. Maybe you're not supposed to do this thing, or maybe you just need to be real with yourself that you like comfort more than doing what you say you really want to do. So like figuring that out allows you to stop lying to yourself. So then once you stop
Yeah.
lying to yourself, you could actually have a real conversation with yourself and be like, is this something that I want? Yes, no, I don't know. But at that point, you'll be able to decide if it's something you want, then do it. And if it's not, then let it go.
Yeah, I think that's such a good one too, because it's like about like actually understanding who you are and what you want. And so many of us don't ever ask those questions and instead just keep struggling rather than actually facing ourselves and asking, like, is this even what I wanted? Am I even doing what I want to do? What are the reasons? Are you just afraid? Who knows? Who knows what it is? But yeah, or you could just be lazy. There's so many reasons not to do something. Yeah, I think that one's really good. Like getting to know ourselves more is crucial to not procrastinating anymore. Um, my last one's pretty simple, but it's just start. Start now. Like we don't know how long you have. We talked about in the last episode, like life is short. We don't know how long we have. Sometimes it feels like we have a really long time. But the fact is like right now, if you think of something, is the best time to start because you don't know if you'll be able to do it again. You don't know when you'll have that opportunity, and you might as well take those chances when you have
Yeah, like the great philosopher Nikkei once said, just do it.
them. Nice.
I know,
It
right?
sounds better that way. Yeah.
I don't know. That's good. But yeah, just
Okay.
get it started. I mean, that's the craziest thing about procrastination is this it's like this mounting illusion. It starts out with like a little bit of I don't want to do it, and then it grows into now I have this to do. And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And once you start, it's like literally done before you even know it. But it's just getting started. That's the hardest part.
But we make it so hard. Like we just keep making it worse and worse. And it is really funny actually how bad we make it for ourselves at all
Hmm.
times.
Yeah. So there
That's
you
funny.
have it, a short, quick fix for how to stop procrastination. This is the Existential Stoic podcast. Thank you all for listening. Now that the podcast is about over, you can go back and actually get through that project you've been procrastinating on.
Get
Uh,
started.
and when you're looking to procrastinate, again, you can find all of our episodes on the podcast
Yeah.
services, on YouTube. Make sure to like, share, subscribe. I'm Randy. That's Danny. I'll see you later, Danny.
Later, Randy.